Yeah, welcome everybody to this webinar. My name is Luke Price from Mopinion, and today we're going to talk a bit about how organizations in the financial world use the power of online feedback collection and analysis. Before we get into specifics related to feedback collection analytics for the financial world, I just wanted to first give a bit more background on Mopinion as a company and what we do. Well, put simply, we provide a tool that allows you to collect, manage, and analyze visitor feedback taken across various digital channels. So we do it by enabling you to place feedback forms, on your website or in emails or in apps. And these can all be triggered based on certain visitor behaviors. And once that feedback is collected, because that's obviously only half of the story, as you'll see later, we also offer a fully customizable analytics solution whereby you can visualize and manage all of the feedback in a way that's most relevant to you. Ultimately the tool is there so it can help you, improve the user experience and of course, boost conversion rates. In the financial world itself, here's an overview of some of our, I guess, more well-known clients in the space. The user cases here, they range from in-app feedback to web to email, like what I already mentioned. Later I'll show you some of the specific examples as well from some of these brands, so you can see exactly what it is that they've been doing. But before we jump into that as well, I wanted to talk a bit about what you should keep in mind when implementing a digital feedback program. Just before we get, as I say, into the specifics of what they do in the financial world. So most of you already will probably know what your visitors do on your website. Obviously, there are so many tools and so many ways to track what they're up to, but you don't really know, why they do what they're doing. And this is basically where a tool like Mopinion comes in to really answer, okay, why it is they do what they do. In order to find out the why, you need to think about, of course, okay, what kind of questions are you going to ask them? When are you going to ask them? And how are you going to ask them as well? So feedback collection, at least, is a lot more than just, play sort of feedback tab on the side of your page. They can click it and they can just, sort of an NPS score or a rating and be done. Nothing wrong with that, of course. It could definitely provide valuable insight, but there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more power in it to definitely find out, as I say, a bit more the why, really, as to what they're doing. So what you basically need to do is use the behaviors of your visitors to ask these right questions in the right way at the right time. So what do I mean with that exactly? Well, it's perhaps easier to explain some of the wrong ways of asking for feedback. That could be, I come to your banking site. I've been on there for 5 seconds, and straight away this pop-up comes up saying, hey, what do you think of our site? And can you find everything you need? That's intrusive and irrelevant and annoying. So it's not really going to generate, a lot of useful insights or feedback. Another thing perhaps not to do is to, pop up a survey that's maybe really long. People probably don't have the patience to answer that on the website if they're going there with another goal in mind. And likewise, if they're exiting your website and you want to obviously ask them, hey, what do you think before we leave? Again, that's good to know. It's good to get a rating before they leave, but again, you should relate it to the goal of what they're doing. Ask why it is they are leaving, or if they did find what they were looking for, how easy or difficult was it? So the point is, with feedback collection, at least, it's all about making it relevant to the journey that the visitor is in. So if you have, a content page, a goal on that page is to provide information to visitors, then obviously ask them, did they find the information that they were looking for? And of course, don't stop there. If they say, yes, I did find the information, that's great. But then also follow up with questions, asking them how easy or difficult that was. Because for you, of course, it's very important to know if they could find this information easily. Just by them telling you yes, you might think you're great and everything's clear, but you have no idea perhaps how long it took them to find what it's looking for example. And again, another example, if they're signing up for a product and they suddenly abandon in one of the steps of this sign up, yeah, pop up a form that triggers on exits and just ask them, hey, before you go, just why you stopped in this process, why you are leaving. So yeah, again, it just comes back to using the behaviors of your visitors in a way to ask the right questions at the right time in the right way, pretty much. With some of that now in mind, kind of set the scene, I wanted to apply it then a little bit to some real world examples. So I'll just come out of my presentation a second, and I'm going to go to, this is the website of the HSBC Bank, so everybody knows it. They're not a client of ours as far as I can see. They don't have a feedback mechanism in place, but I just thought it was to come here and use this initially as a bit of an example. So on their site, thinking about the things perhaps we could want to know from some of the visitors here, the different customer journeys that could be going on. I could be thinking, okay, number one, is everything working as it should? Number two, can visitors find, what they need? And number three, can we do anything that means we can, perhaps improve the conversion rate? So let's start, for instance, let's go into investing. Let's have a look. Let's say I want to have a look for some information, investing in funds. So I can go into here. Let's say I have a look around now. I see some different options. I can go into portfolio, for instance. Maybe I can read some of this information. And then let's say I leave. Now, by me leaving this page, HSBC have no idea like who I was or what I wanted to do. Did I find what I was looking for? No clue, basically. So it would have been obviously very valuable to them to have popped up a form when I left that page, just saying, hey, did you find what you were looking for? And then I could have told them, well, no, I didn't. Well, okay, what was it then? With some follow-up, or yes, I did. Okay, great that you did, but how easy or difficult was it? And that will help them then specifically improve those pages with the goals of providing a little bit more information, for example. And another important channel sort of related to what we were just talking about could be, if I want to open an account, for instance. If I go here to the bank account page, let's have a look. And I want to take a closer look, but I can't see. Here we go. How to apply for a sole account is here. And let's say it's loading. Just give it a sec. There we go. And then it could be that I get to this step and I decide to go. Basically, I leave. Again, really important funnel step to gather feedback. When I've just gone back from there, they could again pop up another form and just say we saw that you were trying to sign up for account. Why was it that you didn't complete the process? Was it was it a bug? Did you later? Did something not make sense? Like, please let us know. And obviously from there, then they'll be able to gather insights to perhaps make that process a little bit clearer or easier or what have you. And another example as well is to do with logging in. So if you're trying to log in to your account, but a bit of a hard time for whatever reason, it would be obviously very useful to know what's happening there as well. So for that specific example, I actually have a user case from one of our clients, which is TSB. So when you try to log in on TSB, there are certain behavioral triggers that say, okay, if it doesn't work, then you get a redirect to here. And what they've actually done is they've embedded a feedback form into their having trouble logging in page. So they're just basically asking, what exactly is it that you're having an issue with? So they want to categorize their feedback so that obviously the applicable departments can deal with this feedback in the sort of behind the scenes. And then obviously from here, they can ask them to go a little bit further. And additionally, what they're doing as well is they've also implemented reCAPTCHA into their feedback form, obviously just for the security reasons as well, of course, which is very important for a lot of the clients in the financial world. I've talked, obviously, at this point, I gave the example of a website, so certain, different tracks on there that you could go and you could gather feedback. But I mentioned earlier that, we focus a lot just on all digital channels, really. So another very important channel, of course, is your content in your email campaigns. So what we see is that if there are businesses that struggle with, newsletters, for example, they can often attribute their struggles to the lack of understanding or engagement with the target audience. They have no real insight how their email was received by the reader. But of course, feedback can be a great way of then, testing these uncertainties, if you like, about your newsletter, and it gives your customer a chance to share their thoughts and perceptions of your email and the information included as well. So I have an example. It's actually a Dutch client of ours. This is from Robeco, it's an investment firm. So obviously this is just an email to say, oh, hey, we've made the transfer over to your account. Do you need any more information about it? Here's the rest of it. Thank you very much. Of extra info. And then down the bottom, it's just a very simple, what do you think of this information? Could it be better? Or was it good? And that in itself can really help a lot in improving the content of your emails. But furthermore, when you click it, obviously it'll take you through to a form where you can, pretty much elaborate on your answer, which is what they're asking to do here. You have the option, of course, to change your mind as well. Say, no, actually, it could be better, and this is why it is. And then you can, of course, send that information on and improve, your whole sort of email campaigns and part of your business as well. It can have a big impact, of course. So yeah, I've spoken up until this point quite a lot about the front end of feedback. So a lot to do with the collection, where you can collect it, how you can collect it, and what's smart, and some tips and whatnot. But yeah, what about the back end? Of course, you have all these insights, all this feedback, but you need obviously a way to be able to make sense of it all. So we also offer a full dashboarding and analytics solution so that you can basically interpret the feedback data in a way that's relevant to your business. So I mean, there are a lot of tools that will give you dashboarding and say, it's flexible and robust and what have you, but sometimes it can be relatively simple. So what I mean with that is charts like these top two here. You can send out a feedback form on your website, and you can be asking, did you find everything you were looking for? 10 people said no, 17 people said yes, 23 people said partly. Or let's just have a look at the feedback by browser, for example. I mean, it's okay information to know, of course, but it doesn't really perhaps provide a lot of context or really valuable insight. Perhaps what you might be more interested in is, well, these people that said no, they couldn't find what they were looking for. I want to know the URLs on the site where these no's are happening, because maybe there's a pattern. Maybe there are certain URLs where we're getting a lot of no's that they're getting stuck. Maybe I want to see all the no's by operating system, because there could be a bug on Windows or something like that. So if I want to build that chart with Mopinion, you can do, because you can filter it against the metadata that we pick up as well. So you see that then. So this is saying, okay, show me all the no's, but break it down by operating system. So now I can see that all of the no's that came in were basically on Windows devices. So there could be something going on there that my technical department need to look into to fix and obviously improve the user experience basically. Another example of this is being able to, I guess, quantify the qualitative data. So for example, looking at the words that come through in the open comments, obviously we take out the ands, the ifs, the buts, and all the rest of it, and we count the main words. Again, pretty interesting to see, to know in this case, okay, the top word is connect. But it would be nice to have a bit more context, and whatever other metric you want to stack that information against is up to you. I mean, I thought, if we're collecting NPS, then a good example is to do this, for instance, to say, okay, just show me all the people that, gave bad NPS scores, the detractors, and group that against these words. So now I can see, okay, from these 5 people that use this word connect, 4 times it came up in a negative situation or in conjunction with a negative rating. So obviously that again helps just to provide a little bit of context. So that's just a couple of examples, but basically anything that you are asking in your feedback form or anything that you're asking Mopinion to track from your site can be used in dashboards to then visualize the feedback in a way that's that's relevant to you. So it's not sort of out of the box static charts or anything like that, but you can pretty much make whatever charts and whatever visualizations you need basically. In addition to this, sometimes what you're gonna see on your site, especially when it comes to like the login issues, for example, what you saw on TSB, is more sort of customer support orientated questions. And that kind of feedback, it's better if perhaps you can deal with it in real time, or you can send it into your support or ticketing queue right away, rather than retrospectively coming to a chart and seeing a piece of feedback. It would have been good if we could have dealt with this yesterday, for example. So we also have a functionality to deal with that, whereby you can send email alerts to your basically to your support at company name email with specific feedback criteria. So I can say, for example, okay, every time a feedback item comes in and we ask them what they're looking for and it's equal, they said no, they couldn't find what they were looking for, and they gave an NPS score of less than 6, and in the open comments, 1 second, they use the word help or bug or stuck. It's just some examples, but of course you quote what you like. When these criteria is met inside a specific feedback form, I want to basically send an email alert to support at the company name, so they see that feedback item right away and they can deal with that issue right away, and obviously then hopefully help that customer, as I say, rather than seeing it retrospectively a bit later on. There is quite a bit more to our tool. I mean, it's just a bit of a high-level overview for today. There are, of course, many integrations, the ability to pull in web data, use webhooks, but don't have the time to sort of go into all that for now, of course. And maybe we do another webinar and we can go a bit more into depth into what these functionalities can do. But I think, just bringing it back to the sort of the theme of today. So let me just get back into my presentation a second. Is just to think about, well, what are the main, I guess, takeaways? When you start a feedback program on your finance site, what should you bear in mind? And I think these are the main things really. Is that number one, feedback is more than just a button on a web page. Obviously, make it relevant to the journey or to the behavior of your visitors, of course, so that you get better quality feedback, and so that you get more feedback as well. And yeah, thirdly, obviously, collection is only half of the solution. Of course, you need a robust tool to visualize and manage this data in a way that's that is relevant to you, pretty much. So yeah, thanks everybody for taking time out of your day. I appreciate it, and yeah, I really hope it was a useful session. Bye bye.